Hey there, my name is LexC, and thank you so much for joining me for the hot take. Today's hot take is coming from Twitter. I found this post from @HipHopAllDay, and they ask the question, in your opinion, what needs to happen in hip hop to help stop the current slump that it finds itself in? And this is an excellent question because we've been seeing so many things for the past few months. I think I can name two off the top of my head. It started with Ebro saying that the labels are no longer checking for rap artists because they're boring. On top of being boring, I don't know if Ebro said this or not, but they're boring. They keep getting into trouble, and a lot of them are, expiring. I don't know if I'm allowed to say the real words or not, but a lot of them are just not good for business on a longevity type of scale, right? So Ebro was saying that the labels are no longer checking for rappers. They're going for the Latin artists and the Afrobeats artists because the rappers are boring. And then just a few weeks ago, we start hearing people saying things. Well, Juicy J in particular said that hip hop sales are down 40%. And then I think, was it Billboard that posted it? I want to say it was Billboard saying that there has not been a number one hip hop album all 2023. And it's October. It's October. After October, we have 2 months left in 2023, and there has not been a number one, like a hip hop album has not made it to the number one spot. And you have to wonder why. So what needs to happen in hip hop to help stop the current slump that it finds itself in? I think what needs to happen is there's so many variables that play into this conversation, right? So why are rappers considered boring? Rappers are considered boring because the production is boring. Unfortunately, the Atlanta sound has become very popular. And for some reason, everybody wants that trap sound, but the trap sound is not dynamic, in my opinion. And it's meant to be for a very specific type of storytelling when it comes to hip hop. But in general, I think the trap sound is just so played out. Like, a lot of people took that Atlanta sound and ran with it, but all the production sounds the same. Everything sounds like loops. Everything is too digital. Everything sounds like a freestyle. There's no emphasis on proper hooks these days. So rap songs are boring to me because everybody wants to rap with a really fast flow and a really fast cadence, but they're not saying anything. Another thing that happened is the mumbling in rap. So whatever they're saying, nobody can understand anyway because they're not really enunciating the words. So how am I supposed to connect to the music when I don't even understand what's being said? And so people are not understanding what's being said. They start to tune it out, they check out, and a lot of people gravitate to the music for the production, not the actual words. So nobody's connecting on an emotional level with the music. So, and then we get into the production being boring, right? The production is boring. It's bland. It's not dynamic. It very much stays in one place. There are so many type beats that are out. When you look at the shift in how YouTube beats have been labeled over the past few years, very much a lot of type beats, like not the resurgence, but like a coming of type beats has happened. And it's like Lil Baby type beats, Future type beats, XXX type beats, and just Migos type beats. Like there's a type beat and everybody's trying to sound like somebody else, but nobody's stepping out of the mold. Nobody is trying to be different. I also would blame the industry as well, because of course they are signing and giving attention to, giving a platform to artists that don't really have anything to say. Or maybe the artists do have something to say, but the label doesn't want them to say those things. Maybe the label only is signing artists who, portray a certain mentality, or they portray a certain stereotype. I think that has to do with it. A lot of the rappers that I've been seeing, they come from harsh realities, and a lot of times signing a contract with a label is a way to escape those harsh realities. And when you sign with a label, you are agreeing to step into a mold in a lot of cases and do what they tell you to do. I've seen people that don't have a lot of creative control over what their music is, or what they get to say, or how they get to dress. They have to very much maintain a certain persona because it's in the contract. So I think that has to do with the downfall of hip hop. I talked about in a LexChat episode of the Hip Hop to Prison Pipeline, labels allegedly had a direct connection to the downgrading of hip hop. They realized in the 80s that the music was influencing people's mindsets and influencing people to want to do better, essentially. So labels were allegedly sent a letter. They were in bed with the prison companies, and they were allegedly sent a letter saying, hey, stop signing revolutionary rappers, stop signing conscious rappers, sign something else, sign gangster rappers, sign trap rappers, and that began the slow shift. It's taken a long time, but we're finally seeing the effects of those decisions that were made. What's up, Young Sick? How you doing? We're finally seeing the effects of those decisions that were made. Conscious rappers not getting signed. We do have a few, but the conscious rappers are not given anywhere near as much attention as these other rappers who get to go mainstream. And the mainstream rappers don't really have a message because that's by design. They don't have a message by design. That's how the industry would want to keep it. And there's like a dumbing down of society in general. On the engineering side, as an engineer, I see a lot of young rappers come in and they don't care about learning about language. They don't care about knowing how to communicate. They don't care about coming in with a theme in mind. Like they come in not knowing how they feel, not knowing what they want to talk about. They don't have an experience that they want to talk about. They don't have a story they want to tell. And they're rhyming just for the sake of rhyming, to rhyme and to have a certain cadence. Like I said earlier, they're not saying anything. They don't care to take their time with the music anymore because everything is so fast and so much of like an instant gratification. A lot of people, a lot of newer rappers are not interested in taking their time to hone in on the craft and sharpen their skills because they feel like if they slow down to write, they're going to be left behind somehow, even though you still need to use the time to develop your skills. So there's so much that's going into why hip hop is failing. When we talk about topics, right? So the mainstream, I mentioned that allegedly the industries in the prison industry got in bed together and agreed to stop signing conscious rappers. So you look on the male side of the rappers, it's all about guns, it's all about women, it's all about drugs, it's all about money. It's misogynistic, it's disrespectful, and this is poisoning the mindsets of a lot of people, right? You look on the female rapper side and it's all about who got the wettest P word, who can trick a man out of as much money as they possibly can. It's all about the color of their private parts. Like, it's just so vulgar and pushing the envelope. And how shocking can we get? How nasty can we get? How ratchet can we get to have attention? And we're just in a bad place. Like, because sex sells, everyone has gone to it. And everyone is literally rapping about the same thing. Like, it's exhausting. It's exhausting. And me personally, I don't seek out any of this new rap music. I don't want to call it hip hop because this is not the music. This is not the hip hop that I grew up listening to. for some reason, the labels are not signing people that are reflecting the times. They're just signing people who got mindless raps. They're not saying nothing. And when somebody finally does have something to say, it's got to be a conspiracy or something. But like, everybody feels like if you're not getting money, then you're not successful. If you're not getting money, then you shouldn't be listened to. Like, money is not the root of happiness. Money is not indicative of success. It is a form of success, but money is not a justification for why something else didn't work out. You know what I mean? And if the goal of the labels was to misplace the morals of the community at large, or the morals of people's mindsets at large, then they've done a very good job of corrupting mindsets and the mindsets of the younger generations, because I don't know what a lot of this crap is. But in my opinion, what needs to happen in hip hop to get it out of this slump, people need to stay independent and don't sign with these labels who want to control your message. I think that's first and foremost. These artists have to be serious about wanting to be a business, and they can't only worry about being famous. They can't only worry about who's going to give them the biggest check. Artists have to place importance, especially these rappers, place importance on being your own business, being your own brand, and generating your own income outside of a label and making that sustainable. I feel like the reason why we don't have the messaging we want is because people are selling their soul to get a check. And when you sell your soul, when you sign those papers, you have to abide by those people's rules because they signed the check. But if you can empower yourself by making your own money, then you don't have to be dictated by what somebody else wants you to represent. So I think first and foremost, we can't just sign for a check. We got to run ourselves as businesses, and that way we won't be influenced, right? How else, like what else needs to happen in hip hop to help it get out of this slump? Once we learn to run ourselves as a business, then we need to put the focus on developing ourselves. We need to fix our mindsets to understand that even though the perception of social media is turning out everything so fast, right? That's not the reality. And things still do very much take a lot of planning. Things still do very much take a lot of thought behind, like, things should not just be happening. Things still do need to be planned out. So I think there needs to be an emphasis on talent again. There needs to be an emphasis on telling a story. There needs to be an emphasis on learning communication and public speaking and having a love and appreciation for the English language, understanding words, expanding vocabulary, and learning how to paint a picture with your words. When you can learn how to paint a picture with your words, you can take somebody into any environment. You can influence somebody's thinking. You can help them to see what they weren't seeing, or you can help them to see from your perspective or from the perspective of somebody else, right? So we need to treat ourselves like businesses and learn how to generate revenue as a business. We need to hone in on the development and the appreciation of the language and the communication and the storytelling aspect. And I think if we can just start with those two things at least, then hip hop would get into a much better place. Because then even if you are talking about the trap, there will be creativity behind how we present the things that happen in the trap, or the mindset behind why people get involved in the trap. You know, right now there's like a huge lack of creativity, and everyone is just kind of like filling a mold. That individuality has been lost because, like I said, people are just signing away their creativity to get a check. Once we don't have to worry about the check, then we could talk about what we really want to talk about. And yeah, that's my hot take. So the question was, in your opinion, what needs to happen in hip hop to stop the current slump that it finds itself in? Those are a couple of my solutions that I would have. My name is LexC. Thank you for joining me for the hot take. Until next time, peace.